Well, that was rather a long 5 minutes. And chat was not loaded. So if you send any messages, just send them again. I don't know what background noises I'm making right now, but I've definitely been in my daytime clothes way too long. A lot of yard work today. So it's time to get in something a bit more pajama-y. And then do some game development. So I've been slowly chipping away at getting the routine editor to be something a bit more interesting than just a thing. What do you call it? A linear track. I probably should have just delayed starting a little bit longer, but well, I'll see how I go here. I think that's close enough. Alrighty. I'll get in frame properly in a moment. Yeah, so routine editor has been just linear routines. I've been figuring out how to display some non-linear routines. I'm kind of glad I did it around that way rather than doing the data model first, because the data model is kind of less interesting, at least less visually interesting on its own. Whereas if I can get something to display and then start building up the data model, I'll be able to basically show what the data model represents as I build up the various parts of it, which will be great. So I'll put all that together. I'm also really excited about the game concept that I'm working on, developing ideas for. But that is I would say, well, at the pace that I'm going, that's something like a 2-year plus project. So not something I'm going to necessarily just jump into. I might at some point just do some little prototyping of some visuals, but yeah, I've got to find a good place to organize all my notes for that. With small projects, I tend to just sort of try things out and then wing it. But that's not how I want to approach a bigger project, because I'll be kind of stuck with whatever I choose for quite some time. And I say stuck with, like, you can always move everything across to somewhere else, but that doesn't always work very quickly. So on. All right, what have we got here? That is a thing that I should put over there and minimize. Oh yeah, of course. Where have I put my thing here? It's not here. Okay. Let's get that thing open. There we go. Switch to that tab. There we go. It was minimized somewhere down there. You sneaky UI. Oh, it's a bit wide, isn't it? Let's just bring that over here. Yeah. So I think I'm pretty much still in the same place as I was before. Just trying stuff with the GraphUI package. I have set positions of connections. I did get the basic drag connection point working, which was pretty cool. I haven't got it like unplugging. And let's see. Yeah, I wanted to sort of change how it works so it is just sort of like a PowerPoint. Wait, that's an overloaded word when we're talking about digital stuff. So that is like a cable plugging into a socket. So the bit that you drag is like the connector at the end of the cable, and you can put it onto the input, and you can also take it away from the input. I think that's easy to understand visual metaphor. And I guess then if somebody doesn't have access to click and drag, which might be the case for users who can't use a mouse, then that connector would be something that could be focused, and yeah, some kind of controls to unplug and steer it around, maybe, or to sort of tap through the possible places it could connect to. I imagine that might have been an interesting noise. Right, so I'll jump across to here and get a few things open. So I kind of haven't been using my sorry, I'll finish that sentence in a moment. I do that. That's I don't know to what extent it's the ADHD or the autistic traits, but I'll tend to start a sentence and then need to pause somewhere in the middle to figure out what the rest of the sentence is. So I probably started talking before I figured out how to say the whole sentence, and or before I'd even fully formed my thought, or I just didn't have a big enough buffer to hold the whole sentence in there. So then I had to load the second half of the sentence into the buffer. Anyway, so yes, instead of using my task list, I kind of just put these set of things in the code where I was playing around with this routine graph manager. So this is basically just on start, it will try and do a bunch of things, and that's where I've been playing around with this library. So where are we? Connection managers. The connection manager is kind of the key to all of this, because that allows us to create connections between rect transforms, so between objects that have rect transforms. So yeah, we can create those connections. We can find connections, or we can find a connection if it exists between two objects that have rect transforms. We can create, we can get all of the connections that are connected to a particular. I want to look through them. And through playing around here, I've found that I can just run that. Don't know how long that'll take to get fired up. But essentially, I think I've got all the building blocks there that I need to build something up. And so at the moment, what happens is I've got I'm going to open the magnifier, which I thought I already did, but just get that going again. It's a little annoying, it slows things down a little bit, but worth it if you get to see things. I might see if there's something I can add in OBS, which will basically just follow the cursor and play the role of that magnifier, because I'd imagine it would perform a little better on the system. There we go. So now we can see all this on a non-4K screen. Come on, what's up? Yeah, this is... Some stuff has to be probably dredged up out of disk into memory, because the system has been asleep since the last time I ran it. Okay, so essentially what's happening here is I'm keeping track of some rect transforms, and the prototype I have has a rect transform and a graph node, so basically rects and nodes correlate to the same objects. just so I can just look them up by the same index. And I've got a set of positions that I've just set in this thing. And it'll just go through those positions and create. So it'll instantiate that prefab. And it's going to basically use the position of each one relative to the container position. It's going to instantiate it and just put the rect transform and the graph node into these for convenience by index, and just manually encrypting the index. So that's what gives me these three here. And then I've got a few bits where I just create a connection from 0 to 1, create a connection from 0 to 2, and then I find the connection from 0 to 2, so this one here, and I get the line from that connection. Does that actually matter? Line 1. No, yeah, I didn't end up using that, so I'm going to just delete that. That was when I was trying to figure out how to change the color. And so basically, trying to change the line doesn't work because the library immediately overwrites it with the color that is set for the point. So here we go, I've got the connection, and it's got 2 points, 0 and 1. So one of the points is where it connects onto this, and one of the points is where it connects onto this. So you can see I've gone for color green at this end and color yellow at that end. And also, so point 0 here, I've gone for -1 for the connection, so that puts it down at the bottom. And number 1, I've actually set the direction to north, so it puts it on the top. And set the direction, set the position to -1, which will put it all the way over on the left. So that's just some manual stuff I've done to position those. So with that, that will allow me to do stuff like, here we go, when we've got let me move that across there a little bit. It's been saved for a while for some reason. Yeah, so if we've got something like this, and we want to do something if we detect an enemy and something else if we don't detect an enemy, then that will allow me to position these two connections in the appropriate place on that object, or at least as close as this library allows. And I may need to enhance things somewhat to get my own positioning. And I'll be able to also color these differently depending on which path will be taken if the routine gets to this step before anything changes, essentially. So that's basically where I am. But yeah, so basically to connect this to here at the moment, that's a matter of, I think this one I've set up and these are all not set up, so I need to do something to get those set up. But essentially this thing here, you can see that it's got its input and one output there. These are just lines that I've just drawn or set up for experimental purposes. But let's say I wanted, I'll put that, that's a bit, those lines are getting in the way. Let's put it here. So I want to plug this into here. I can just drop that onto that input. And at the moment it's connecting that on there and it's snapping that output back to here, but disabling it. So I'm going to change how that works. So if I can select this, did that work? I want to select that. There we go, got it. So I've got the input target here, and that is apparently enabled. Oh, that's the input target, of course. Where's that output target? It's supposed to be nested underneath. I didn't delete it, did I? Oh. There, output connector is a child of the canvas. And that is because I can see why that happened. I've just enabled it, and it is down here. It's not going to render until I unpause. Yeah, so the problem was, it was actually, when I disabled it, it had not been moved back. While things are dragging, they're a parent of the canvas, which helps them to sit above everything else and so on. And then when they're released, they get moved by my code back to be parented to what they were parented to before. But that's not happening here. So what did I have? I got an input drop target just here, and I've also got this draggable icon, I think, which is basically a reusable script that I'm using. And I just added that snapback on drop, defaulting to true, which I want if it wasn't dropped on anything, but if it was dropped on something, I want it to not do that. So here's the end drag thing that will set the parent back, but I'm probably on the input drop target here. That's probably where set active false. Output connector, set active false. So this is basically a bad idea. I might leave that there for the moment, just in case I forget. Yeah, don't do this. Bruno01, if I wanted cheap viewers, I'm sure I could find them on the internet. So that's weird that it's called Tech Crack Tool. You're selling hacking or viewers? Bit of everything. Got an alarm going off. I hope I couldn't hear that. I hope no one else could. Because that would have been annoying. Well, Bruno01, I'm not going to buy any cheap viewers, but assuming you're not a bot, which is a terrible assumption to make, you can learn some game development stuff. Or just watch what happens. Yeah, don't do this because of reasons. Okay. The weather has heated up too much to go with dressing gown. I need to get a more lightweight gown. I started making one about 25 years ago. I haven't quite finished it yet. I'll get to it any moment. I just keep having other projects come up. Just need to do some hems and stuff. I think it's like half an hour, maybe 1 hour maximum to get it finished. It has been sitting in various drawers and moving around with me for years and years. Interesting. How that happens. Frustrating that we don't live forever because I kind of feel like I need that to get all my projects finished. Yeah, don't do this because it promotes it. Its parent set from canvas to original parent. Plus, I'm not having it behave that way. Anyway. All right. There, that's the one I want. Do that. Okay, how am I going to do that? Well, I've done the first step. Don't disable it. Second step is I think I need some kind of communication between here. So basically, I think that output connector. Oh, hey, 1985. A good year, a good vintage. I know people from that year. So I should instead of just reading this, I should show it to the stream because finishing is the critical part of any project. If we can't finish, all our work is for nothing. Quote from Do the Work by Stephen Pressfield. Not strictly true, but still a good thing to consider. If it's something like a project that is to earn money and it doesn't earn money until it's completed, then yeah, it was all for nothing. You can learn a lot by half doing a project, but not as much as you learn by completely doing a project. So yeah, it's a big challenge with ADHD, especially because the dopamine decreases over time that you get from a project. So unless you're doing very short, small-scale projects, it's really hard to stick with it because you just start running out of dopamine, and then not having enough dopamine doesn't feel like this, but it functions like this. It's a lot like, I think, starving. I think that might be a good way to explain it to people who don't experience low dopamine. We're basically someone who hasn't got food. The longer they go without food, the more that the need for food will start to overwhelm like everything else until they just become completely focused on food. A little bit different with dopamine because you can get dopamine all kinds of places. And so it kind of depends on what ways you learned give you the dopamine. Of course, that's not how you think about it if you're undiagnosed and just it just feels like you're very interested in lots of things. The last stream. Well, I don't think I made very much progress the last stream. Omega Killer, because I don't remember why. I was probably tired, but I did make some progress. So right now I've got the ability to plug this into here, but I think I want to not quite do that. So I've just been changing that. And what is this and what is it here? Oops. And what even is that? Let me just stop that. Yeah, so basically now I haven't got proper icons for them. I just snipped a bit out of an existing sprite. I've got an input connection and one output connection, but there could be multiple. And these are just some lines I made playing around with them. And I've basically made it so that this isn't fully set up yet, but I made it so that you can drag the input connection, drop it on the output connection, and it connects the two things together visually with a line. But I'm just changing how that works. So instead of doing this and having it connect from here to the other node, I think I'm going to just leave that. So I'm not like changing the connection to have it anymore. Instead, I'm basically just going to get that thing to basically plug into that thing and stay there, and so that'll keep this connection line connected, which will be cool. I just need to stop it from snapping back to its previous location, which is what happens on drag end here if snapback on drag is true, which I do want it to be true if you drop this anywhere else. So I want it to snap back there. But I also want to I also want to have some way of this thing, I think basically in this, and this is the on drop. I think I want it to tell the dragball icon to stay put, something like that. Interesting. I think something else is going to happen too, because I want you to be able to take this, unplug it. Why are we talking about food? Oh, just as an analogy for how ADHD works with like having low dopamine. So you've got to keep doing things to get dopamine. It's really hard to understand if you haven't experienced it. But might be a bit like food. Like you have to keep having food, otherwise you get hungry. If you go too long without food, you end up getting so hungry that you can't think about anything else. And that's why. That was the connection there. So yeah, I'm anticipating a problem here, which is basically this draggable icon. When you pick it up, it will figure out its original position, and that original position is what's used to snap it back on drop to its original position. This might be time to stop using a standard draggable icon. Maybe. It's basically got most of the same functionality. So basically then if I allow it to get attached to where you plug it in, then when you grab it to drag it to unplug it, that's going to have the problem that this original position here gets lost. Oh. Now, I just had a thought with that. If I do have a... if I do have a field on here that says whether it's like attached to something, then that might be a way to deal with that. So, or a totally different approach to this might be not to have this necessarily, but to define another component and have this one just broadcast a message on ndrag so that it can maybe move that thing itself. Anyway, probably just go, might make this a property at some point. But I'm just going to make a Boolean to say attached. I have a feeling I'm going to make a different script for these connectors because they will deserve their own one. But I'll temporarily do this. What am I going to call that? It's temporarily here, and this is so I'll call it plugged in because that makes sense for a connector. True when this is an output connector. So to input connector. There we go, and I think I'll need to, like for each of these, really just have a relative position relative to their parent. So if there are two particular positions, if there are three, they'll have positions relative to the parent, which would be determined by each type of node. Anyway, so now I've got plugged in equals false. And then if we want to snap back and it's not plugged in, then it's going to do that. And also I don't want to overwrite this original position. Here. So only if we're not plugged in, we'll update that original position. And I kind of want going to want this position as a relative position, the original position. And okay, I'm going to get the relative original position. So I'll still get my original position as before, but with the plugging in functionality, I also want to be able to have like this connector be plugged into something down here and move this node around, and then when you unplug it, have it snap back to over there somewhere. So basically we'll subtract original parent dot position. Oh wait. Transform dot local position. Position of the transform relative to the parent. Yeah, that's what I want. So that should be just original local pos. There we go. So I'll save both of those. Use with plugs. There we go. So I'll probably undo some of this stuff and just make a separate component because it'll just get too messy potentially here. So what happens here now is we end the drag, and yeah, if we were plugged in, so basically in first we get the drop handler, and then we get the end drag handler. So if the drop handler sets it to plugged in, then that will prevent that snapping back. But also, don't know if I just want to set it original position. I just duplicate that and just make a temporary thing here. This is telling me I probably should have just duplicated this class and made some changes to it. I'm just trying to make sure I don't break the other functionality here. But I do. Oh, hey, what's this? Drugs, maybe? Yeah, that's one thing that can get you dopamine. Probably too much dopamine, depending on what kind they are. Prescribed ones can be pretty good for having enough dopamine so that you're not dopamine starved the whole time, so that you can just go, oh, I'm going to decide to focus on my job, and not just because that's not interesting right now, go and design a D&D campaign that I don't have any prospect of having time to run anytime in the next 10 years, but it's more interesting right now than the work. Or, you know, I got some work to get done this morning. I could choose to actually get that work done instead of just go, oh, I had a new game idea. I have to write all that down because that's more interesting. Sort of building on that library. So that library I'm using to draw the connections between things like this, and those are connected to these that have transparency that's making it awkward. So basically that library is just handling the draw the lines and color the lines. The drag and drop is stuff that I built earlier for the old routine editor and for the blueprint editor, which I keep iterating on and improving, making it more generally usable. But yeah, if that library stopped working for me for whatever reason, I can always just go back to basics and draw those connection lines myself. Not super complicated, just something that takes extra time. So that's the main benefit of using libraries. It would just take so much time to rewrite those things that you then wouldn't get anything done. It'd be nice if there was already a make node graphs completely controlled by like already working in the UI, and you just configure what is allowed to connect to where or something. But if you don't find something that exactly fits what you need, often it can take longer to get it doing what you need it to do than it would have been just to build it from scratch. Hard judgment call to make, whether to use something that might not quite be a good fit versus make something that you can customize to exactly what you need. All right, now what am I doing here? Yes, this is just use the local position. So basically, there we go. Basically, get that parent position, add our local position from before to that, and that should make that work. And so, yeah, Aniva is not plugged in. And so, have I updated that code enough? And I should have done save all because now it's compiling with not everything saved. So where are we here? We basically don't drop them on themselves. Oh yeah, now we want to actually plug it in. So we're going to take that input node, output connector. What is that? It's a rect transform. And what do I need? I need the draggable icon of it. Icon. Cool, we should have icon here. There we go. There we go. So we got that plugged in. That should stop it moving. And right now we don't have any kind of representation backing this graph, so that's kind of all there is to do at this point. But there will be more to do at some point. And I think I might be getting near to that. So I can start building up the data model, which I've got kind of some representations there. For each type of node, I can make a prefab that represents that has the right icon and things like that, and start coding all of those up. So I'll actually get something that doesn't just look like I threw a bunch of icons onto something. Okay, so this is moving with this, and I should be able to plug that into somewhere like here, and it should stay. Now it's gone behind, but that's something I think I just need to make sure I do. I think that's maybe part of like the polish routine graph is output connectors, and over up input connectors. Just like a socket and the thing you're plugging into it. So the input connector is the socket. And I might change these, the terminology of these to be something more like that. There we go. So now that's there. Oh, I see. It's still doing that. Okay, so I think I need to make it change the parent as well. The output connector. Input connector parent. Because, yeah, otherwise we've got this problem where this is just doing that. But I can still test if the other thing works. If I now drag this, whoa, that was weird. That was very weird. Because it's all the way down here and that thing's up there. Anyway, if I let go, oh, it was supposed to go there. Oh, yeah, there's nothing to stop it being plugged in. And I guess basically it's going to be not plugged in from the moment that you start dragging it. If it wasn't plugged in, then do that. But now we want to set plugged in true. Whoops, what just happened there? Plugged in equals false. So it might still be able to get plugged back in if you let go of it. So yeah, I think definitely I need a different script for this. And I think to get proper reuse with draggable icon, I could do that by having like begin drag and end drag do some stuff, but have the extra behaviors like snapping back into position or something. Have that be managed from another component or a subclass of this. Yeah, so just something, probably sending a message, and then any component can go, oh, we've ended dragging, and here's a message that has all the stuff I might need, all the info about where the drag started, what was the original parent, what we got dropped on, that kind of thing. Anyway, so we're not getting that snapping where it should, and we're getting a very strange behavior here, where it's just going over there. I wonder if that was something I was working on last stream. Possible. Okay, so I think, yeah, definitely time here. We got an input drop target. I'm going to make a new script here. Output connector, and that's going to basically be like a draggable icon, but with all these customizations and more. Yeah, I've got a sharp thing. All that yard work. Okay. Annoying seed has worked its way somewhere sensitive. Not that sensitive, just enough to be annoying. All right. So it's the output connector. Here's draggable icon. I'm going to grab, 100% of that, and then start trimming it down. So I'll just pop that down there. Now get rid of those things. So these things. Wait. What else did I have here? The engine, in the engine event systems. So Yimsy engine.ui. That's the other one that I probably do need here. Yeah, I probably don't need those guys. All right, get rid of those because probably don't need them. Let's grab all these ones. What are all these? These ones, my grandfather told me years ago, is not correct. You don't need the ones on there. You just say these. Which is true. But it's also fine to say these ones, really. Because people know what you mean. But yeah, it's interesting. Why do we add that extra unnecessary thing? Now I'm going to get rid of this use pointer drag position, and I'm just going to always use the pointer drag position. And I'm not going to need snapback on drop because it's really going to be specific behavior depending what happened. But we are going to have plugged in. Yes, I should put this here. Now, I'm not sure about these things. Put those up here. I don't need to just check what we need. There's yeah, because I think we're probably going to need the original parent and like current parent. There's a few different things going on here because of the it's more like a graph node. Oh, we have that connected graph node. Yeah, so things we might need here is like graph node that this is connected to, which we could probably look up, and the standard offset for the graph node to snap back to. So that's for this, it's supposed to live like there or so. So that would be that position, which I guess on start it would pick that up. And actually, I probably need to actually create that connection, which might be something that happens on start as well. Because that needs to be like in the connection manager. So I don't think you can just have it in the prefab to begin with. I also need like the other graph node is plugged in. Not sure if I need that, but it makes sense. Also like the one of those probably, the graph node or the input connector. But yeah, I'm not sure if it actually needs that. I'll figure that out in the future. Whoops, I've zoomed. Zoom out. That'll do. Anyway, so let me see. So we're grabbing that ancestor canvas. Yeah. And I think probably. Oh, what's that all right about? You didn't want me to hit enter? So to do. Yeah, so we can record those at start, and then that's where it will always snap back to. I've definitely like changed something that was being used for some purpose. Sure. Anyway, okay. Begin drag. Ah, yeah, cool. I think it's just time to grab all of this. Grab that. And do that. I can go through and fix the bits that were broken by the stuff I removed. I mean, they were enabled by the stuff I removed, and removing it made it broken. So make it begin drag. Yeah, I need to fix that. Yeah, I guess we can't do that unless this inherits from draggable icon. I'm not using that in these things. But I might at some point. That's right, I don't need to think about that right now. So yes, we parented to that. Okay, on drag. So use pointer drag position is just going to be always true. So we will do that. I think somewhere in here is what's going wrong. That's making it positioned really weirdly. Interesting. Okay. And then what is this? We get the correct transform of the canvas. And basically do some stuff to get some X and Y. Oh, this is just, don't let it get dragged outside of the canvas. That's fine. Okay, I don't need that. I feel like this will be more readable if I just do something. Like this. clamp within canvas roll position. Then I don't need a comment there. So then that means, yeah, we're getting direct transform that we want. Then we're getting some stuff out of that, computing some stuff, setting some stuff on there, which is a struct, so it's passed by a value. So we're not actually updating this, but we return the updated one, and so then we have the updated one here, and set it to that. And I can inline this. Apparently doesn't want me to. Oh, right, it's not like just inlining. It's I think I'm gonna leave that like that. I'm pretty sure I could just put this here and get rid of that, and it would work. But that's fine. Okay, let's go drag position from offset. That's not used anymore. No other occurrences. So yeah, that's. No, I still got that working elsewhere. So yeah, get drag position from pointer. Could rename that to be a bit less verbose, but I think it's fine. And then on end drag, now here we go. This is where stuff's going to get a bit different. So we've got different scenarios where we dropped on an output connector. Yeah, I guess first of all, was it dropped on an output connector? That means basically plugged in, true. Then we basically just want to I gotta let the output connector handle all the parenting. Like it goes, oh, okay, the plug is here. I'm now going to position it in the right place, and that kind of thing. So yeah, either something like that. Another possibility. Dropped not on output connector. So that's basically when plugin is false. So it's like quick place for the else here. What we're going to want to do there is return back and set position to and pause plus stand offset. It should be captured at start. I think that's the main things. So as soon as you grab it, it's not plugged in. Is that true? It could be plugged in until you're no longer over the top of the plug, but I think, yeah, just clicking, now you've unplugged it, and where's it going to go? You could drop it back on there and it will plug back in. So, I think, yeah, let's do a nice if else here. Now, that's what we want in that. That's what I want there. And then there are a few things we want to do as well, just anyway. But we've got our original parent and sibling index to set back to. So I guess here it would be, we don't know what parent or sibling index we want. So that's sort of a reason to do it from the on drop rather than from this side. Now we don't have that. We've got if not plugged in that thing. So this is if not plugged in right here. And either way, we want to set our raycast target back to true so that it will be clickable. It's basically just to stop the drop event from being blocked. Not good. My Dropbox is almost full. Good thing they reminded me. And yeah, we're not doing that stuff because we don't need to be compatible with that. I'll just leave that here because that's like what was happening. And I think we could just keep that original parent. If we just, the problem is if we start dragging, then that's when it gets its original parent. Where do we use this original parent? We just set it in there, so yeah, I think just on start. Do that. And grab that original local position. So I shouldn't need to set that there, and I shouldn't need to ever set this either. And I guess the sibling index too. So basically, this thing's going to be always wanting to go back to that parent whenever it's not plugged in. And anytime you pick it up, it's unplugged, so it'll just redo the plugging in logic. And shouldn't matter about getting that. Oh, I see. Yeah, there's the problem. Only if it's not plugged in will it set that original pos, and that's what our position is based on. So if it's plugged in, that breaks it. So yeah, definitely don't want that to be wrapped in there, really. There we go. So yeah, we're just picking up the plug unplugs it. Okay, don't need those things. Also don't need that search up there. Yeah, so that is now going to be working more properly. Yep, cool. That's just literally moving it around. Moving the canvas. And then we've got an end drag here. So yeah, basically make it castable. And right now I'm not doing anything if it's plugged in. Just doing, getting it back to its original position in its original parent. And like original position in the hierarchy and original position in space. That should all be basically good. Let me write the other part of that, the part for drop input. Not on input connector. Okay, so now we've got our input drop target. And I might actually just, where do I want that? There. Let's grab that there. Get a bit of space for that. Right, so I've got an input drop target. So yeah, this is when something gets dropped on you. Then we're looking for not a draggable icon anymore, actually. Now we're looking for a output connector. Yeah. So I'm trying to get an output connector. Is there anything else that's relevant? Don't think so. So we've got the where's pointer drag property? Anyway, we get our dropped object. We try and get an output connector on that. That should also say output connector. Make sure it is an output connector. It should make a class or interface to represent that. Well, good news, I did. So that's fine. And yeah, I was just using that name to make sure it was the right thing. But yeah, having a type is more reliable. All right. Okay, so the output connector rect transform. Yeah, this is weird because that's called icon when it should be called output connector. But I've already got something called output connector. This is the rect transform. So let's call this the output rect transform. There we go. That says what it is. And this can be the input rect transform. There. Now, this is where I used to be doing it like connecting onto something. Yes, that's checking that it's not trying to plug it into itself. And we're just setting it plugged in. So that we need to do some more stuff here. And it's stuff like it's happening here. So we need to set the parent and so on. Who should I set the parent to? I could set it to this drop target or the parent. I guess probably it's fine to be a child of the drop target, right? I just I'm on scene view here. So what have I got? Can I select something? There we go. That's the output connector. And hello. Oh yeah, got it first time. There's the input target. So if I then grab that output connector and drop it on that input target, and then move it like there. It's not really rendering. Oh, let me put it. Yeah, put it about there. And a bit. Oh no, it was already slightly towards that way. There, so that's there now. Moving that moves that, and it seems fine. So yeah, I think that's fine. So the transform of the input connection. Interesting. Do we want the well position to stay? True, maybe. That basically means it won't like shift around somewhere. But we probably want to set it to let's do a plug offset. Probably would just actually design those icons so that you line it up with 0. Okay. Left to the left. And slightly down. Maybe that'll do. And slightly in front. Let's go that far in front. Just to keep it a bit more the same numbers. There, hopefully that works. Yeah, I won't set the sibling index for now. That was more relevant to getting things back where they went. And yeah, basically we're setting that position, and that's the equivalent of what's happening here. Yeah, basically that to do is, I haven't quite done the exact same as that, but I've done as close as I'm planning to. And see, that works. I'll just let that build. Okay. It's getting hot here. Times like this, I wish I lived somewhere a bit more temperate. I'm pretty sure I like cold better than hot. But I might also think that because I haven't lived anywhere particularly cold for particularly long. I think I've visited places with very negative temperatures. But yeah, not for long enough. Not for long enough to get sick of it. I've been there for a year or something. All right, so this is the only one that has that connected to there. Although I don't think that necessarily matters at this point. Like, I could move that around, plug that into there, and drop.object has no output connector. It's completely broken. So there you go. Those are just coming from the library. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what it's done with that. That was yours, wasn't it? Oh well, let's grab this one anyway. And let's plug that into there. I'll just drop it like on the corner of it so we can see it snapping into place if it does. Whoa. Well, if I move this, is this the parent? Where did you go? Hi. Oh, there's that other one too. What are you doing over there? What? Okay, you've got some position here, which is really wacky. First of all, I'm going to try just not setting local position, just get some kind of position going on right there. Why in the thousands? That's a really weird one. I'm feeling I might need to do a bit of a debugger session. Yeah, there's something weird going on with serialization, which I think is just a result of changes in Unity that the library has not been updated for. I'm basically ignoring them for now because they don't seem to be breaking anything. And they mainly seem to happen when going into and out of play mode or something like that. But yeah, I might need to update that code, understand it, and then update it. Okay, so let me just check here. I'll plug this into here, and I want it to not go off to infinity and beyond. It's gone to infinity and beyond. How dare it? All right, debugger time. Because it's bugged. So what are you going to do? You need a debugger. Let's just attach that. Let's let that build. I can't see how what I've done is. Are we ready here? Well, possession stage should keep it in the same place it was dropped. So it's really just this bit here, which I guess I could get rid of that. That to me says very small. All right. We've got a breakpoint there, so we should break as soon as we're plugged in. So I'll plug this in over here. Is that actually going to work if I let go there? That's interesting. It seems to be doing that. It's not going to 0, 0 either, because 0, 0 is like there or something. So it seems to be doing that. Well, yeah, I didn't actually get the on drop happening there, right? I didn't get any of these. Yeah, didn't get that log. Didn't get that log there or that log warning. So it's not even getting the on drop. Hold on a minute. I think I figured something out. Something a bit embarrassing. I made a new script, right? It's a new script for this output connector. And I've been writing that script. And I forgot something. I forgot the bit where I put that script on there. And remove this one. Okay. Okie dokie. That actually has some hope of working now. Oh, not quite. Shouldn't have started it yet. So that code I was looking at was basically irrelevant because, yeah, it's not even attached to anything. Now, just stop that again because this output connector is part of this graph node, and we need to apply that so that the others that are created programmatically will pick it up. Oh, nearly at time again. Time just goes by way too quick. All right. So if you've got fingers, cross them. See what happens. All right. Now we've hit here. And I might just continue because we might actually be fine there. Yeah, there we go. That looks more like just slightly offset. From there, I might get it a bit further to the left. Like 4 times as much or something. I think if you don't make those kind of mistakes, then you probably have less in common with all of the rest of the programmers in the world than if you do make those kind of mistakes. It's just easy not to see those because people don't usually include that in their finished product. So I think it means you're human and you're an actual real programmer. Yeah, it's just funny because it's like you get focused in on solving the problem. I guess it's a bit like someone working really hard to figure out why they're not getting a picture on the TV, and then it's like the PowerPoint wasn't plugged in, but they tried like 18 other things before they eventually noticed that and went, oh. So I think that's probably just a example of to err is human. Wait, what's the rest of that quote? Because there's like, I know there's the old one, right? There you go. To err is human, and to forgive is divine. But I think there's got to be a better one. There we go. To err is human, but to really foul things up requires a computer. Yes. I don't know who. Quote Investigator seems like a good website to look up that one on. This is too much reading for me to do right now. When it's not docs for the thing. Yeah, that's working. That's plugged into there. And it's staying plugged into there. And the other part of it is if I unplug that and let go of it, that's the bit that's broken. So, yeah, we basically weren't getting plugged in set to true. And so it was doing that behavior. And so that's the bad behavior, not that. So, I'm going to leave this like this. I know I can improve it by flipping the conditional and so on, but basically that stuff is the problem. I think I already am doing that, so it's not ready to do anymore. So I'm not actually setting my capturing my original parent once, capturing my original local position once. Am I using original local policy? Yes. What am I doing here? I should just do that. Stop that from going. And find out what kind of wacky shenanigans are going on here. I should put back over here after I said that. Which one? Had you heard the to err is human, to forgive divine before? It's kind of a eloquent and has truth to it, but I do enjoy the computer one more. No. Yeah, I'll leave that there because that's where those things are running off to. Oh, what's your problem? Unable to find a corresponding location. What? What? But that's the line of code. Oh, let's see what happens. This is yeah, when we drop this in, it's not plugged in. It's gone off to infinity. Not actual infinity, but here. Yeah. It is a child of one of those, so that seems appropriate. But the bit where its position is crazy That bit's the bit that doesn't make sense. Let me just do that. And this and okay, now what was the problem there? I think that might mean save everything. Oh yeah, because it's not saved. And then wait for it to compile. If things would just behave in a sensible way, a lot of stuff would be much, much quicker. Feels like, no, I guess mainly when you're learning new things, new libraries, etc. You end up with like more than 50% of your time spent just on how do I make this thing not just go haywire, or how do I do this very simple thing that should be just a couple of lines of code, if that, but I don't know what the lines of code are. Boom. All right. Now what have we got here? First of all, we've got our original parent, which is that GraphNode clone. And it is a rect transform, right? These are interesting things. Rect. Center 00. So we've got our sibling index 0 on that original parent. That shouldn't matter. Okay, yeah, so we've got original parent sibling index that we're going to use, which is 0. We've got this, we're in the output connector, and our output connector transform. And how am I going to read these? Because what we've got here is there's a base for transform. So it has position here. 2.68, 4.77, negative 4.01. So that's where we've dropped that thing. Is it? Yes. 244. And the original parent base position. There, 1.41. And so on. Can I watch that? Okay, how can I watch that without oh, here. So if I watch that one and this position. All right, that has not worked properly. I think I could figure out how to make it work, but whatever. So I've got that, and then Step over. Okay, now at this point, I don't even remember which one I dragged. I think it was this one. That bit should be fine. All right, so we've got the original local position. Yeah, so that seems to be maybe an aspect of the problem. Those are big numbers. So I think we're dealing with pixel units. And if we look at original parent dot position, we're dealing with those small numbers. So why do we have such big numbers in our original local position? I think it might be that those are pixel numbers because we're dealing with pixels. Like we're in a context where we have pixels. So then we're positioning it in world space using pixels. So I'm just going to manually get myself a local position here and see what happens with that. Oh. Yeah, the computer one. That's a pretty good, funny computer. People quotes. You kind of got to come up with these things. Because how else do you face the amount of ridiculousness that programming has? Like, surely if humanity made some kind of concerted effort, we could make it a lot easier. You know, not make hundreds of different programming languages and frameworks that do essentially the same thing, but with little tweaks and so on. Like, surely something like 10 would be enough to cover all of the different use cases. Just keep improving them. Who knows? Anyway, there are a lot of humans, so we're always going to keep tinkering. Okay, where are we up to here? Okay, this is a thing. I'll drop it over here. And now what we're dealing with. Yeah, these look a lot more sensible, small numbers. And that looks more sensible, so let me just let that continue. It has gone back to there. And I'll drop it over here. And I can continue. I'll just take that breakpoint off. Yep, that goes back there. And this one's a bit easier to see when it snaps or not. So I'll just, that's a problem if that thing's not, there we go. Now I should be able to get that off there and then put it back on there and it'll be fine. And I should also be able to get that off there and drop it like not on there and it'll go back there. So that's cool. It's about where the cursor is, so if you get something weird happening where it gets out of sync with the cursor, then it stops working. But I think that's, I can remove some code I've got that tried to make it slightly more usable. That wrecked it. So yeah, that plugging in seems to be working now. Move this over here, move that here, unplug. Goes back where it should. doing my own business. That's, you say that, and then that's when a Velociraptor kind of just turns up. I gotta watch Jurassic Park again. I haven't seen it in like probably more than 3 months. Oh, hey, Gorilla Mod. I was just thinking of finishing up. So I've just got this thing working. This is cool. Look, you can plug these things in. Plug. Oh, missed. It snaps back there, but then you plug it in there. You can unplug it. You can plug it in. Boom. Plug it in over here. Yep. And up here. So that's getting somewhere. I guess the natural next thing to do really is have this output connector actually like get a connection to its parent on start. So that'll be like here. So we would basically require a component of a graph node. There we go. And so to do that, it's basically what the routine graph manager is. What the routine graph manager is doing here. I don't know if we even need a graph node. What do we use that for? But basically, this is it. We just need 2 vector transforms, and we can do connection manager.create connection. So I don't know what we need the other things for, but we do. That's part of it. And the reason that's not working is because these are just, they are vector transforms, but the code doesn't know that they are. So we need to get a vector transform component. And actually calling that. And then we need to just do that to get the vector transform of this. And I need to stop that running, otherwise it's not going to recompile. And that actually should be enough to create that connection. If it doesn't already exist. So now anything that has one of these, it should connect it to its parent automatically. Which means all those created ones should be connected visually onto their things. There we go. Okay, that's got me back to where I needed to be. I think I need to also get rid of these extra connections. There, so this thing. Yeah, we need to get rid of these. So delete that. Delete that. Now that's looking more like it should. And I'll just get these 2 and just delete them. I'm not using them anymore. So now I've got this starting one, which I don't necessarily need because I'm creating them programmatically. But yeah. Gorilla Mod. I forget if I said welcome back. But yeah, good to see you. And yeah, I think I'd started explaining or showing off what was working. Oh, okay. So one thing is that connection, it's joining it onto there. I think the connection that I had there. That'll be that one, right? Yeah, position 0.84. We're basically east with weight 0.84. Weight 0.3. Oops, I'm going over time. And I think from the other side, we're at position 0 and weight 0.3. And west. So I need to set that when I create the connection. Is there an overload to set all of that stuff? Don't think so. So that's a void method. So basically I'll capture both of these things, introduce a local. Parent RT, and I'll just call this one RT. Now we can find that connection. Like so. And okay, connection point 0 is the east one. With weight 0.3. And position 0.84. Great. And now I think we want to do the same thing for 0.1. Some of the same stuff. It's automatically picking up direction west, but we can just make sure. There we go. And position should be picking up default 0, so that's fine. I think I'll leave that. So that should give us things that are a bit less SE. If you haven't watched it is worth watching. That's where I get SE from. It's a dramatic reading of a review. It's a review of the game Super PSTW, which is a fantastic game. Yes, Super PSTW action RPG. Worth a play, if it still runs. Exactly. What about quests? What if I don't want to buy the potion? So, I'll put this link right here. And then when I finish up the stream in a moment, if you don't need to go to sleep like I do, I highly recommend giving that a playthrough and then watching ... which I should also find, shouldn't I? No, I don't want ellipsis. That is what I want. There we go. That hopefully will be Close enough. Play the game first, and then when you've finished playing it, then you can watch that. And I think I can see where the frustration behind the review comes from. Like, it takes a lot of work to make a game, and then if someone makes it easier to make a game, and then their one gets a bunch of attention, then yeah, interesting. Anyway, the end result is we all get some free amusement. Yeah, those seem to be working. That is, oh yeah, that's right. I have these connections being drawn. I probably should stop that happening. But okay, no, that's right. That's where the mouse is. So I got to get those lining up properly. So just ignore this line and the colorful line, and we'll just maybe I'll do something where the lines change color when they're plugged in, just for fun. And I think this has got extra lines drawn on here because they hung around for whatever reason. Come on, you. And that's not joined onto anything. Let's plug that into there. Aha, you can. Which I guess that kind of makes sense that you could make a routine like that. Why not? Just go around through 4 actions. You don't even necessarily need to go back to start if you've just plugged it into the start. But that's not, well, it's a little bit of a way to go before we get to this or this. But we're getting a lot closer. I swear I did just hit minimize. Yes, I did. Good. All right. I'm going to call it there. I'll leave you with a fantastic game. And hi again, Gorilla Mod. How is my day? Long and tiring. So it is now at an end, and I'm going to go to bed. Or maybe I should have a shower first. Ugh, this warmer weather. It's not that warm yet. It's just humid. Ugh. I nearly got some other code written in my day job today. That was good. Keep getting interrupted by making sure other people's code is good. But yes, how about yours? I am going to end this stream in a second, but I'll take a moment. Tired too? Yes. Tired. Ooh. Too tired to say the letter T on the front of words. Ooh-ired. That's when you're, yeah. Ooh-ired is when you can no longer say the letter T due to your tiredness. Well, you should do what I'm going to do. Go to sleep, unless you have stuff to do. Oh man, I have dishes to do as well. I'm just going to make sure there's bowls for breakfast and leave it at that. Well, I've been David from Fertile Pixel. I've been making this interesting game, and really looking forward to getting this graph editor looking like a graph editor, and working as a graph editor. Routine editor. Yeah. The node graph version of the routine editor. That's going to be fun. I hope that I can push through and get an actual routine working on this the next time. But I don't know if I'll be able to. We'll find out next time. Right. What am I going to click? No point doing a release because this is still not actually functional. So I think I will click stop streaming. Goodbye. Thank you for visiting. I'll be back again in 3 days for another stream.